You want to know what the scariest planet in the known galaxy looks like? Believe it or not, it looks exactly like this. A perfectly normal alien teenager just got sent here as an exchange student. Nobody warned him. And what happens next is absolutely hilarious and somehow absolutely beautiful. This is the exchange student. Let's go.
Welcome back, everyone, to Iron Heart HFY, where the best human stories in the galaxy get the voice they deserve. Today, we're doing something a little different. You've heard the stories where a human lands on an alien world and accidentally becomes the most terrifying thing in the galaxy. Today, we're going the other way. Today, an alien comes to Earth, and nobody told him what that meant. This is an original Iron Heart HFY story, The Exchange Student. Buckle up. Poor Zix has absolutely no idea what's about to happen to him. My name is Zix. I am 17 years old, approximately 1.4 meters tall, and the proud possessor of 4 functional limbs, 2 sensory stalks, and an academic record that my mother describes as adequate. I am a Velhari. We are a peaceful species from the Vel system, a temperate, civilized, thoroughly unremarkable planet where the most dangerous native predator is something roughly equivalent to what humans call a squirrel, and which we call the frack, and which has never, in recorded history, injured anyone. I say this so you understand the context. I say this so you understand that when the Galactic Youth Exchange Program sent me my placement, I had no frame of reference for what I was about to experience. The letter was very official looking. Gold embossed seal of the galactic community. My mother cried when I opened it. "Earth," she said, reading over my shoulder. "Oh, Zix, how wonderful. The humans. I've heard they're very friendly." She said friendly the way you might say unpredictable. I did not notice this at the time. I should have. The program had existed for about 30 cycles, a cultural exchange designed to foster understanding between galactic species by placing young members of one civilization into the domestic life of another for a period of approximately 3 Earth months. It was, by all accounts, transformative. The program coordinator, a cheerful Molthari named Braxis, had given me a thorough briefing. Humans were bipedal, mostly harmless individually, a young, enthusiastic species still finding their place in galactic society. Their planet was classified as a Class 4 environment, which sounded completely reasonable until I later discovered that Class 4 meant biologically aggressive, and that most spacefaring species lived on Class 1 or 2 worlds. Braxis had included a pamphlet. The pamphlet said, "Earth is a vibrant and diverse world, full of warm and welcoming people. Minor environmental variations are expected. Pack layers." It did not mention the predators. It did not mention the weather. It did not mention the food. It did not mention the dog. Braxis, I have since decided, is either criminally optimistic or has a very specific sense of humor. My first view of Earth from the descent shuttle was, I admit, objectively beautiful. It is a blue planet, mostly water, which I knew from the briefings, but knowing it and seeing it are very different things. The water catches the light of the local star and throws it back in every direction. And from orbit, the whole planet looks like something someone made on purpose, something designed to be looked at. I remember thinking, this doesn't look dangerous. I was wrong about that. The descent through the atmosphere was my first indication that Earth was not like home. On Vel, our atmosphere is calm, stratified, predictable. Earth's atmosphere is apparently in a constant state of doing exactly whatever it wants. We hit turbulence 3 times. The shuttle's environmental systems registered external temperatures of -60 degrees at altitude, then swung to a comparatively balmy 14 degrees as we broke through the clouds over what the navigation system identified as the North American landmass, specifically a region called Ohio. Ohio. I had studied the name. I had practiced saying it. It did not prepare me for what Ohio looked like. It was green, extraordinarily, aggressively green. Trees in every direction, which I understood conceptually, but had not appreciated the scale of. On Vel, we have trees. They are polite. They stay in designated areas and do not crowd the pathways. Earth trees do not have designated areas. Earth trees grow wherever they want. They grow into power lines. They grow through fences. They grow out of the sides of other trees. They seem almost competitive about it, each one straining upward with a determination that, in hindsight, should have told me something about the planet's general philosophy of survival. The shuttle touched down at a small regional facility, and I was met by a program representative, a human woman named Sandra, who had the specific energy of someone who had done this many times and was very enthusiastic about it. "Zix," she said, and she pronounced it perfectly, which surprised me. She also shook my upper left limb with both of her hands at once, which is apparently a human greeting gesture. Her grip was firm, very firm. I made a note of this. The Henderson family lived in a structure called a house, in a collection of similar structures called a neighborhood, in a larger collection of structures called a town, in the county of Franklin, in the state of Ohio, in a country called the United States of America. Humans have a great many layers of organizational geography. I found this both impressive and slightly exhausting. The house itself was large by Valhari standards. 2 floors, a lawn in the front and back, that Mr. Henderson, Dave, mowed every Saturday with an expression of profound personal satisfaction. There were flowers, there were trees, there was a structure in the backyard called a shed, which I was told contained just stuff, and which I never investigated further based entirely on tone. The Henderson family consisted of Dave Henderson, father, large, loud, enthusiastic about grilling. He shook my limb the way Sandra had, like he meant it, and immediately told me I was going to love it here and that we were going to be great pals. He said this with complete sincerity. I had no reason to doubt him. He was also approximately the size of a small vehicle. Karen Henderson, mother, the logistical core of the household. She operated with the calm efficiency of a military commander and expressed affection primarily through feeding people. Within 20 minutes of my arrival, she had asked me what I could eat, what I couldn't eat, what I might want to try, and whether I wanted something to drink, all in a tone that suggested there was only one correct answer. Tyler Henderson, 17 years old. My human counterpart. He would be attending school on Vel while I attended school here. I had seen his photograph. In person, he was slightly taller and had a quality I later identified as generally unimpressed. He looked me over for about 3 seconds. "Cool," he said, and then he went back to whatever he was looking at on his device. I decided immediately that Tyler and I would get along. Emma Henderson, 9 years old, Tyler's younger sister. Emma was the most frightening member of the family. Not because she was dangerous. She wasn't. She was small, enthusiastic, and possessed of a powerful and entirely uncurated curiosity that meant she asked questions without waiting for answers and touched things without asking permission. Within 6 minutes of my arrival, Emma had asked me if I could see through walls. No. Whether my sensory stalks could detach. Also no. And please don't pull them. And whether I wanted to see her rock collection. I said yes to the rock collection. This was the correct choice. Emma's rock collection was, by human standards, about 40 rocks in a box. Emma's enthusiasm for those rocks made them feel like holy artifacts. I did not understand yet that this was what humans meant when they said passion. I was beginning to understand that humans felt things very intensely. All of them. Even the rocks. I had been briefed on dogs. The briefing said, humans keep domesticated animals as companions. The most common is the dog, a mid-sized social mammal descended from pack predators, generally friendly toward humans and their associates, may require an adjustment period. The briefing did not mention that dogs are descended from wolves. The briefing did not mention that wolves are pack hunters that ran down prey animals across vast distances for millions of years, and that this heritage is written into every fiber of a dog's being, even when that dog is named Biscuit and wearing a small blue collar with a tag that says, "I am a good boy." Biscuit was a Labrador Retriever. Biscuit weighed approximately 32 kilograms. Biscuit did not walk through the kitchen door so much as arrive. All at once, at speed, with a momentum that suggested he had been building up to this moment since before I rang the doorbell. He saw me. I saw him. He made a sound, low, complex, somewhere between a rumble and an exhalation that I later learned was called a bark, but which in the moment registered in my nervous system as large predator detected. Recommend immediate departure. Biscuit, Karen said. Biscuit did not stop. He was already mid-air. What followed was approximately 4 seconds of what the Hendersons later described as Biscuit saying hello, and what I, in my report to the program, described as an unprovoked attack by a predator of significant size and enthusiasm. Biscuit put both front paws on my torso. He was the same height as me, standing up. He put his face directly in front of my face. His tongue, warm, wet, and considerably larger than I was expecting, made contact with my sensory stalks. The sensation was beyond description. I made a sound I had never made before, and have not made since. Emma found this extremely funny. Tyler looked up from his device for the first time. "He likes you," Tyler said. "He is licking my sensory organs," I replied. "Yeah, that means he likes you." Dave physically removed Biscuit from my person, which required more effort than I would have anticipated, and set him down with a gentle command to sit, which Biscuit did, while continuing to stare at me with an expression of pure, uncomplicated joy. He had a toy in his mouth. He had brought me a toy as a gift. I stared at Biscuit. Biscuit stared at me. "He wants you to throw it," Emma explained. I threw the toy. Biscuit retrieved it and brought it back and dropped it at my feet, with the satisfied air of someone who had just cemented an important business relationship. I threw it again. By the end of the evening, Biscuit was asleep on my feet. I did not move for 3 hours. Not because I was scared, because I didn't want to wake him. I had been briefed on dogs. The briefing said, humans keep domesticated animals as companions. The most common is the dog, a mid-sized social mammal descended from pack predators, generally friendly toward humans and their associates, may require an adjustment period. The briefing did not mention that dogs are descended from wolves. The briefing did not mention that wolves are pack hunters that ran down prey animals across vast distances for millions of years, and that this heritage is written into every fiber of a dog's being, even when that dog is named Biscuit and wearing a small blue collar with a tag that says, "I am a good boy." Biscuit was a Labrador Retriever. Biscuit weighed approximately 32 kilograms. Biscuit did not walk through the kitchen door so much as arrive, all at once, at speed, with a momentum that suggested he had been building up to this moment since before I rang the doorbell. He saw me. I saw him. He made a sound, low, complex, somewhere between a rumble and an exhalation, that I later learned was called a bark, but which in the moment registered in my nervous system as large predator detected. Recommend immediate departure. Biscuit, Karen said. Biscuit did not stop. He was already mid-air. What followed was approximately 4 seconds of what the Hendersons later described as Biscuit saying hello, and what I, in my report to the program, described as an unprovoked attack by a predator of significant size and enthusiasm. Biscuit put both front paws on my torso. He was the same height as me, standing up. He put his face directly in front of my face. His tongue, warm, wet, and considerably larger than I was expecting, made contact with my sensory stalks. The sensation was beyond description. I made a sound I had never made before, and have not made since. Emma found this extremely funny. Tyler looked up from his device for the first time. "He likes you," Tyler said. "He is licking my sensory organs," I replied. "Yeah, that means he likes you." Dave physically removed Biscuit from my person, which required more effort than I would have anticipated, and set him down with a gentle command to sit, which Biscuit did, while continuing to stare at me with an expression of pure, uncomplicated joy. He had a toy in his mouth. He had brought me a toy as a gift. I stared at Biscuit. Biscuit stared at me. "He wants you to throw it," Emma explained. I threw the toy. Biscuit retrieved it and brought it back and dropped it at my feet, with the satisfied air of someone who had just cemented an important business relationship. I threw it again. By the end of the evening, Biscuit was asleep on my feet. I did not move for 3 hours. Not because I was scared, because I didn't want to wake him. The Hendersons ate dinner together every night. This was not universal for humans, Karen told me. Some families ate separately, at different times, in different rooms. But it was the Henderson rule, and had been since before Tyler was born. I found this tradition immediately appealing. On Vel, we have communal meals too, though ours are considerably more structured. Assigned seats, specific serving order, a formal acknowledgement of the meal before consumption. The Henderson dinner table was not like that. It was loud. It was overlapping. Dave asked about everyone's day at the same time Karen was asking whether anyone had seen the car keys, and Tyler was explaining something about a game to Emma, who was not listening, because she was telling me about the documentary she'd watched about deep-sea creatures, which she wanted me to know were actually really cool, not scary. They all spoke simultaneously. They all heard each other anyway. I did not understand how this was possible. Karen had asked me about dietary restrictions, and I had given her the program's approved list, which she had studied with the focused intensity of someone accepting a professional challenge. Dinner that night was, she had thought about this very carefully, a pasta dish with a sauce, bread, and a salad. She was very proud of it. It smelled extraordinary. I am not exaggerating when I say this. I had never encountered a smell like that. Velhari food is nutritionally excellent. It is designed to efficiently deliver the necessary compounds for biological function. It does not, generally, smell like anything in particular. Human food smells like someone wanted it to, like someone put considerable effort into making the smell alone worth the experience. I ate everything on my plate. Then Dave asked if I wanted more, in a tone that made it clear the correct answer was yes. And I said yes, and I ate that too. Then Emma pushed the breadbasket toward me and said, "You have to try it with the butter," which I did. And something happened in my sensory systems that I do not have adequate vocabulary for. "Do you like it?" Emma asked. "I believe," I said after a long pause, "that this is the best thing I have ever eaten." Emma beamed. Karen looked quietly triumphant. Dave said, "That's what she does," and reached over and patted Karen's hand. And Karen rolled her eyes but kept smiling. I cataloged this exchange carefully. It was, I would later understand, a very typical example of what humans mean when they say they love someone. On my 7th day on Earth, it rained. I do not mean it rained the way Vel rains, a gentle scheduled precipitation that arrives at the appropriate time and in the appropriate quantity and then stops. I mean, it rained the way Earth rains. The sky, which had been a reasonable blue that morning, began doing something around midday. I was in the backyard with Biscuit. We had developed a routine when I noticed the light changing, turning gray, turning greenish-gray. The wind picked up. Biscuit looked at the sky, then at me, then walked directly inside through the dog door without further comment. "Zix, come inside." Karen appeared at the back door. I came inside. What followed was approximately 45 minutes of the planet trying to do something I could not classify. Thunder, a sound so low and massive it seemed to come from inside the Earth rather than above it. Lightning, actual electrical discharge from sky to ground, repeated, close, absolutely enormous. I sat on the sofa and attempted to look calm. Emma sat next to me. "It's just a storm," she said. "The sky," I said carefully, "is generating electrical discharge." "Yeah," Emma agreed. "Thunderstorm. We get them a lot in summer." "On my planet," I said, "lightning does not strike the ground." Emma considered this. "That sounds boring," she said. She then offered me a blanket and turned on a cartoon. I accepted the blanket. The thunder was still happening, but it was somehow easier with the blanket. Dave came in from somewhere with his hair wet, saw us on the sofa, and sat down on my other side. "You good, bud?" he asked me. "I am fine," I said. "First big storm?" "On Earth, yes." He nodded. "They're intense. You get used to them." He was quiet for a moment, watching the lightning through the window. "Actually, pretty beautiful though, right?" I looked at the lightning. There was another crack of thunder that rattled the windows. Biscuit, apparently over his strategic retreat, climbed entirely onto Dave's lap, 32 kilograms of dog arranged across a human man with complete confidence, and Dave just moved his arm to make room. Outside, the rain hammered the roof. Inside, we watched cartoons. "Yeah," I said. "Pretty beautiful." Tyler played American football. I attended one of his games on my 14th day. I had done research. I had watched footage. I understood, in theory, that American football was a contact sport involving strategic territory acquisition and a prolate spheroid object. I did not understand, in practice, what it would feel like to watch from the stands as 22 humans ran at each other at full speed with the explicit intention of stopping one another through physical force. The sounds alone were extraordinary. The impact sounds, the crowd sounds. Karen yelling Tyler's number with a volume and intensity that suggested she was personally invested in the outcome in a way I had not anticipated from someone who seemed so calm at home. Dave put his hands in the air and made a noise I had never heard a human being make before when Tyler caught something. Emma explained what had happened very quickly, and then explained it again because I hadn't processed it the first time. Tyler's team won. After the game, in the car, Tyler sat next to me in the back seat and said nothing for a while. Then, "What did you think?" I considered the honest answer. "I think," I said slowly, "that humans choose to do that voluntarily." "Yeah," Tyler said, "and you enjoy it. Love it," he said. "You are a remarkable species," I told him. Tyler looked at me for a moment. Then he laughed, not meanly, but genuinely, the laugh of someone who has just heard their life described from the outside for the first time. "You're all right, Zix," he said. I filed this under things I would remember. On my 22nd day, Dave hurt his back. He hurt it doing something he described as being an idiot on the garage roof, which apparently needed no further explanation for the rest of the family. The hospital was a building I had read about extensively. In the galactic community, human medicine is something of a legend. Not because it is the most advanced, it isn't, but because of the sheer determination behind it. Humans have been fighting their own biology for the entirety of their recorded history. They have invented solutions to problems that most species simply don't have, because most species don't live somewhere that generates that many problems. The waiting room smelled like something clean and chemical. Plastic chairs, a television in the corner playing news. Karen was filling out forms. Emma had fallen asleep against Karen's shoulder. I sat next to Karen and held the extra form she wasn't using yet because it seemed like the right thing to do. After a while, without looking up from what she was writing, Karen said, "Thank you for coming, Zix." "Of course," I said. "You didn't have to." "You are my family here," I said. Karen put her pen down. She looked at me. Then she put her arm around me, carefully, the way you'd hold something you wanted to not break, and squeezed once. I had been on Earth for 22 days. I had a family that fed me and asked about my day and let a 32-kilogram predator sleep on my feet and watched thunderstorms with me and called me Bud and showed me rocks with genuine pride. I sat very still in that waiting room chair, with Karen's arm around my shoulders, and I thought about my mother back on Vel who had cried when I got my placement. I thought maybe I understood why she'd cried. Not because she was sad, because she already knew what was going to happen to me. Every week I sent a report to the program. The program wanted data, observations, cultural notes, assessments of integration progress. I gave them all of that. I also wrote letters home, to my mother, separate from the reports. The letters started formal. Week 1, arrived safely. Environment is more biologically active than anticipated. Human host family is welcoming. Dog is large. Week 2, the food is extraordinary. I cannot explain this adequately. Human cuisine appears to be a form of art that they consume. Every meal is different. Karen asks every time if I liked it, and I suspect that this is important to her, so I make sure to be specific. I told her that the soup she made on Tuesday reminded me of warmth as a concept rather than a temperature. And she cried. But apparently, this was the correct response. Week 3. I attended a sporting event. I do not fully understand American football, but I understand that Tyler loves it, and that watching Tyler play it is a completely different experience than watching anyone else play anything. When he caught the ball on the final play, the crowd made a sound I felt in my chest, and I made that sound too. Week 4. It rained again. I sat on the porch to watch it. Biscuit sat next to me. We watched it together for a long time. The lightning was very close. I was not afraid. Week 6. I have started helping Emma with her homework. She helps me understand human idioms in return. Today she explained the phrase, "It is what it is," which I found philosophically challenging. She also showed me a new rock she found. She wanted to know if we have rocks on Vel. We do, I said, but I don't think they're this interesting. She was very pleased. Week 8. I went with Dave to do something called errands, which is apparently a human ritual involving driving to several locations to collect or deposit various items, with no particular destination, often accompanied by music played at a volume that makes conversation difficult. We didn't talk much. Somehow, it was one of the best mornings I have had here. Week 12. My last week. I am not ready to go home. I did not expect to write that sentence. I expected to be politely grateful. I expected to have learned interesting things and seen interesting places and accumulated cultural data that would serve me well in future interactions with humanity. I did not expect Biscuit. I did not expect Emma's rocks. I did not expect Karen's cooking and Dave's terrible jokes. And Tyler saying, "You're all right, Zix," after a football game, like it was the simplest thing in the world. I am going to miss them. I did not know you could miss something before you left it. Apparently, that is another thing humans understand that the rest of us are still learning. Tyler found me on the roof.
Shooting star.
I had gone up there, through the window of the upstairs hallway, which Tyler had shown me on my first week as the best spot, to look at the sky.
A shooting star.
Earth skies at night, when the light pollution wasn't too bad, were extraordinary.
Maybe we will.
I had grown up knowing the stars as coordinates,
Whoa, look,
data
a shooting
points,
star.
navigational markers.
Make a wish.
On Earth, they looked like something worth looking at,
Maybe
just
we
for the
will.
sake of
Look
it.
at all those stars.
Tyler sat down next to me.
Whoa, look, a shooting
We didn't
star.
say anything for a
Wow,
while.
you're right.
Then,
Make a wish.
"You're leaving tomorrow."
Wish we could see more.
Yes. "You gonna come back sometime?"
Look at all those stars.
I thought about it.
Whoa,
I would
look,
like to.
A shooting star.
He nodded.
Wow, you're right.
"We'll keep your room."
I wish
looked
we
at
could
him.
See more.
Emma's idea,
Maybe we will.
he said.
Look at all those
But you know,
stars.
We all agreed.
Whoa, look, a
I looked
shooting
back at the
star.
sky.
Wow, you're right.
"Tyler,"
Make a wish.
I said.
I wish
"Can
we
I tell
could
you
see
something?"
more.
"Yeah."
Maybe we will. Look at all
When
those
I was
stars.
given this placement, I said
Whoa,
slowly,
look, a shooting star.
I was afraid.
Wow, you're
Your
right.
world is
Make a
classified
wish.
as biologically
I wish we could
aggressive.
see more.
Your species is
Maybe we
classified
will.
as physically
Look at all those
formidable
stars.
and culturally intense.
Whoa, look,
Everything
a
I
shooting
read
star.
suggested Earth
Wow,
was
you're right.
difficult.
Make a wish.
Tyler was
I
quiet.
wish we could see
"It
more.
is difficult,"
Maybe
I
we
continued.
will. Look at
"Your
all
weather
those
is
stars.
violent. Your animals are large and
Look, a
enthusiastic.
shooting star.
Your food is
Wow,
dangerously
right.
good.
Make a wish.
Your sporting events
I
are
wish we
genuinely
could see
chaotic.
more.
Maybe
I
we
paused.
will. Look at all those
Your lightning
stars.
comes out of the sky at the ground.
Whoa, look, a
Yeah, it
shooting
does,
star.
Tyler agreed.
Wow, you're right.
But,
Make a wish.
I said,
I wish we
I thought
could
about
see
Karen's
more.
arm around my shoulders in the hospital waiting
Look at all
room.
those stars.
I thought about Dave watching the storm call it beautiful. I thought about Emma and her rocks. I thought about Biscuit asleep on my feet. But none of that is what Earth is, I said. Not really. Earth is you lot. And you lot are... I searched for the right word. Tyler waited. "Worth it," I said. "You are absolutely worth it." Tyler looked at the sky for a long moment. Then he reached over and, in the way humans do, in the specific, casual, deeply important way that humans express things they can't quite say, he put his hand briefly on my shoulder. Just once. Just long enough to mean it. "Safe travels, Zix," he said. I left for home the next morning. Biscuit sat in the hallway and watched me pack. He had his toy with him. He set it at my feet. I left it on my bed for him. Some gifts you give back, not because you don't want them, but because you want the other person to have something to remember you by. And that is the story of Zix, a Velhari teenager who came to the most biologically aggressive planet in the known galaxy and left it wishing he could stay. He's since submitted a 40-page addendum to the program's Earth profile. It covers the food, the weather, the football, the hospital waiting rooms, and a section, the longest one, simply titled The Dog. Earth was classified as a Class 4 environment before he arrived. Zix has formally requested they upgrade it to Class 1. His reasoning in the official report was as follows. Class 4 implies danger. Earth is dangerous, but it is also the only planet I have visited where a predator brought me a toy as a gift, where strangers become family in 12 weeks, where the lightning is terrifying and a 9-year-old can make you feel like rocks are the most interesting thing in the universe, where a boy says, "You're all right," and means it more than anything he could have said. I recommend Earth. I recommend the Hendersons specifically. And I recommend going even if you are afraid. Especially if you are afraid. That is, I believe, what Earth is for.
You know what gets me every time about stories like this? It's not the alien discovering Earth. It's Earth discovering it was worth discovering. That's what Iron Heart HFY is about. The best of us, told the best way. Subscribe, hit the bell. Because episode 2 of The Exchange Student is coming, and Zix is not done with the Hendersons yet. See you there.